Good evening, everybody. I'll wait for a few people to hop on here. But we'll be talking about the severe potential for tomorrow. If you guys have questions, now is the time to drop them in chat so I can get to them all. But we're going to wait just a few more seconds here before we get a good crowd in here. Hello, Jenny. Hello, Melissa. So, as you guys have probably heard or seen, we do have a severe weather potential threat tomorrow for a majority of lower Michigan, especially in the east and southeast portions of the state. So the SPC outlook, which you're looking at right now on your screen, this is what the SPC, which is a storm prediction center out in Oklahoma, they issue these forecasts and outlooks. They think that the eastern side of Michigan has the best potential. So after going over some of these afternoon models and stuff, we'll take a peek at everything and go through it all. But after taking a look at the models this afternoon, we do think here at MSC our best potential for severe weather is going to lie between the Flint down to the Coldwater area. That's going to form in a line and kind of push to the east. That's going to be the main severe focus. But around that area in all of the lower Michigan, we do have that threat for severe weather. But we just kind of think it's going to be more prioritized or focused towards that particular area. Let's see, we have a lot of people copping on here. Hello, Anne. Hello, Penny, Diane, Karen. So SPC has the slight risk, which is level 2 of 5. So you have marginal, which is 1, slight is 2, enhanced is 3, moderate is 4, and then high is 5. So we have a level 2 of 5. We have a level 1 of 5 in the western and north part of Michigan. So included in that, we do have designated tornado, wind, and hail risk. This is the day 2 tornado outlook from the SPC. And you can see they have highlighted the areas up in the thumb of Michigan all the way down to right around the Coldwater area. We'll go ahead and say anywhere from, we'll go ahead and say Coldwater and eastward up to Bay City, up into the thumb of Michigan. So Tuscola County, Sanilac County's up there, all the way through Metro Detroit. They think that's going to be where the best tornadic potential is going to lie tomorrow. We would agree with that here at MSC, particularly from Coldwater up to the Flint area. We do think that's going to be the designated alley we're going to be focusing on. For hail, we do believe hail is going to be the main threat tomorrow. We do have a lot of cold air aloft, a lot of upper and mid-level wind shear to get this updrafts organized. So we really do think the hail could be potentially bigger than 1 inch. We could be pushing closer to 2-inch size hail. So $half golf balls are possible tomorrow. We do think that's going to be the main threat. And then the secondary threat will be wind, followed by the tornado threat. And if we go back to the wind threat here, we're going to see why that slight risk is in place. And that's going to be up in the eastern part of Michigan, all the way from basically Alpena, all the way down again into the wind-driven slight risk. So it's a 15% chance of wind, a 15% chance of hail in the yellow areas for the hail, which is right here. So a little bit condensed into the southeastern portions of the state. And then the tornado risk, again, is going to be focused along the same areas along the southeast and then the thumb areas. So with that being said, we do have a few models to take a peek at if you guys want to see that. I'll go ahead and stop broadcasting this screen and pull up my other website I use for models. So give me 1 second. We'll go ahead and flip this over. That should be popping up. If you guys haven't already, drop a like on the stream. We would really appreciate that. All right, here we go. So we're going to take a look at 2 models. We're going to take a look at the NAM3, or the NAM Nest as you'll call it. It's interchanged. We're going to take a peek at what this model seems to think is going to happen. This is this afternoon, about 4 o'clock, the model came out. So it's a fairly fresh model. If we go ahead and skip forward to the morning hours, now we're going to have a focus of the first round potentially in northern Michigan. This is 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock, and noon. As you can see up here, we do have some areas of storms that have fired off north of Grand Rapids all the way up into the northern tip top of the lower peninsula of Michigan. So if that does happen, which we do expect some storms up there, the big question is, are they going to be severe? Because they're happening so early, instability may not be able to build and develop and fully into what it would support severe weather up there. So it's going to be a big question mark. Should tomorrow's models look like it's favorable for severe weather up there, they'll be included in the risk. But for right now, the highest confidence is going to be where we released our forecast earlier, which is going to be right around the Saginaw over to um, I'm blanking on that. Saginaw over to we'll go ahead and say Muskegon, Ludington areas, and south of there. We do think that's going to be the highest potential for severe weather, but again, we'll have to watch how that plays out in the morning hours. So as we get into the afternoon, this model picks up some pace here. This is 2 p.m. We have a line developing from Saginaw all the way down to the Grand Rapids metro area, and that is going to be the main focus for severe weather. So right around 2 o'clock, we could expect storms of fire between 1 and 2, potentially as late as 3, although the environment tomorrow is going to be really well juiced that these storms should have no problem taking off, and especially taking off earlier than expected wouldn't surprise me. So right between 1 and 3, we'll say storms will start to fire, and by 3, 4, it'll push into the Detroit metro area. So at this point, at 4 o'clock, this model says it's knocking on the doors of Ann Arbor, Chelsea, Coldwater, those areas, all the way up into the Flint, as well as the Macomb Township, those areas up there. I know we have a lot of followers up there. So moving to the 6, 7, and 8 o'clock time frames, the severe portion of the squall line moves out of state, and we do have some isolated development behind it, but that should be non-severe. So 1 to 3 would be the initiation time in the west and central parts of the state. In Metro Detroit area, right around, we'll say 5 to 6. And then that's going to be dependent on when they fire and how quickly they move. But that'd be a general rough guess on exactly when those storms will come through. So another model we can take a peek at, and the last model we take a peek at would be the HRRR, which lately, especially last week with the active severe weather we've had, the HRRR not really handled that very well. So we're taking this model with a grain of salt. We're kind of trusting more so the NAM model right now, which is what we just looked at. But this model in particular, again, this afternoon's model, so a fairly fresh model. We're going to go ahead and zoom forward here. This is 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. We do have some showers and storms ongoing up in the northern part of Michigan. As you can see, the line takes shape here over the lake and pushes onto shore. We do have some scattered other development down here in the Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids area. I'm not sure if that's going to be happening or not. The other model didn't have that. It wouldn't surprise me because the atmosphere will be juiced and supportive of thunderstorms. But this is what this model thinks. This is noon. We do have that cluster up here. It holds off until afternoon. So if that happens, the severe threat would be higher up in the northern part of Michigan. So again, I have to play that out. But then back in here, it does form a little bit of a line here, especially in southern parts of Michigan here, and also the line up here north of Grand Rapids following the 96 corridor up into the Saginaw and then Flint areas as we get into the evening hours. This is 4, 5, 6, and then clearing the state by about 7 or 8 o'clock. And then again, some scattered storms and showers are possible behind that main line. So potential for a couple different scenarios here. We do want to trust the NAM model more just because, again, the HRRR didn't really handle this past week very well. So we do think a line of scattered storms will form somewhere between the Saginaw to Grand Rapids area all the way down through Kalamazoo. And that'll push eastward as the day goes on. So widespread storms for everybody from central Michigan down to the border of Indiana and Ohio. And then again, kind of an up in the air situation for the northern part of Michigan. The SPC does include them in a severe risk, but looking at the models, it's going to be kind of up in the air for you guys up there if you are, we'll say, north of Saginaw to Ludington. So if you're in like Houghton Lake, Cadillac, Gaylord, Alpena, those areas, Petoskey, Rogers City, it's going to be kind of up in the air up there. So with that being said, hazards, again, are hail is going to be the main concern, potentially larger than quarter size. So we could be talking golf balls, maybe some isolated instances of larger hail. And then also wind-driven microbursts or downbursts are definitely possible. And then an isolated threat for tornadoes, especially after this afternoon's models. And that corridor from, we'll say, Coldwater all the way up into the Flint area and then over to the Metro Detroit. We do think that area is going to be the focus for a tornado or two, possibly. And this is going to be that line right here. If you can follow my cursor on my screen, my mouse, I'm circling it. So anywhere between Flint all the way down to the Coldwater area, this particular area in general, we're going to be focused on for a tornado threat. So with that being said, I think we covered pretty much everything. I'll go ahead and hop in chat and answer some questions. So if you guys have any questions, now is the time to drop them. Oh, we got a lot of comments. Thanks, guys, for tuning in here and participating. See a lot of hellos from St. Clair, Greenville, Macomb County. Let's see here. Will Waterford get hit bad? So Waterford is going to be in that area. We're going to be watching for a potential tornado or two, although we can't really say specific locations will get hit hard. We can say you are in a severe threat, and you do have a potential for all hazards, including tornadoes. Hello from Allegan. Hello from Union City, St. Clair. Coldwater. Timing for Coldwater would be right around, we'll say, the 3 to 5 time frame. Tracy, Battle Creek, all hazards are possible, although we do think wind and hail are going to be primary threats over there, right around the 3 to 4 o'clock time frame for you. The further west you are, the quicker or the sooner storms will impact you, and then the further east you are, the later on that will happen. Jenison, you do have an isolated severe threat. The models currently fire off storms to your east, so you may escape the bulk of it. But again, the environment in place will be supportive of severe storms, whether or not the main line is forecasted to hit you. Mason, right around the 4 o'clock time frame, I'd say would be a good bet for you. All hazards are possible, including the potential for an isolated spin-up tornado. Clinton Township, same thing, although you're going to be a little bit later on in the afternoon, probably closer to 5 or 6. Lenawee County, 5 or 6, I'd say, maybe as early as 4, but I think it's going to be a little bit later on in the evening for us over here in the eastern part of the state. Oakland County, same thing, right around the 5 to 6 time frame. All hazards are possible. Cadillac, you are in a severe threat, although it looks like the bulk of the severe weather will be off to your south and east, although an isolated severe storm up there is possible. I'll go ahead and scroll all the way down. There's so many comments, guys. I apologize. Wixom, Hillsdale County, Bay City, and Sturgis. I'll go ahead and do these all at once. So you guys are all in a severe threat tomorrow. Timing for Sturgis area and then also Wixom area, because that line is kind of tilted southwest to northeast. You guys should be impacted right around the same time, around the 4 to 5 o'clock time frame. Hillsdale County as well. Bay City might be a little bit earlier up there because that's where we could have a potential for 2 rounds. I'm not really sure how that first round in the morning is going to play out. So you may have an impact from a first round, then more storms behind that as well. So right around, I'd say a good bet for you in Bay City would be right around the 2 to 4 time frame. A lot of questions coming in from Monroe. So Monroe County, you are right around the 6 to 7 o'clock time frame, and you do have a threat for all hazards, including tornadoes. Farmington Hills, same thing, Andrew. Right around the 4 to 5 o'clock time frame would be a good bet for you. Yes, this is PM, Cindy. Kalamazoo, you are in a severe threat tomorrow, although the models currently kind of place most of the severe weather to your east. The environment as a whole, for any storms that do pop up, do have potential for severe weather. It's just more focused off to your east, but again, it's possible over there in Kalamazoo. Oakland County, same thing, Debbie. You're looking more so 5 or 6 o'clock, as well as potential for tornadoes, the main threat of wind and hail. Muskegon, you're east, so I'd say you are more so looking for any pop-up storms. The main line is expected to form off to your south and east, so you may be in the clear for severe weather. But again, all across the state, the environment is supportive of severe weather. Some in the form of pop-up storms, other ones are going to be in the form of a squall line. West Branch, Brian, you're looking more so for 2 potential rounds. The first one impacting right around noon, and then the second one possibly later on, about 2, 3, maybe 4 o'clock, depending if any pop-ups pop up there. Constantine for Melanie, Jonesville and Constantine are pretty close, or at least in a general vicinity. You're looking right around the 5 o'clock, 4 to 5 o'clock time frame for you guys. All hazards are possible. All right, let's see here. Yeah, flashlights are ready for any power outages. You are smart, Laura. Let's see here. There's a lot of comments, so I do apologize if I do not get to yours. We have 170 in chat here, so just bear with me here. I'll try and get to everyone. Grayling, you're going to be more so impacted by the first round, about noon to, we'll say, 2 o'clock up there would be your best time for it. Yeah, Travis, generators are a must nowadays. Otherwise, if you go without power, you might be out of power for quite a while. So generators are always handy, although they're really expensive. So Battle Creek, so you're going to be looking at the first round. The only round really for Battle Creek besides pop-ups would be right around the 3 o'clock time frame. It could be as early as 1 in far western, southwestern Michigan, but we do expect it to be right around the 2 to 3 o'clock time frame for Battle Creek. Berrien County, same thing. You're looking more so at the 1 to 3 o'clock time frame. Grand Rapids, you are going to be right around the 3 to 4 o'clock time frame, although storms may fire off to your south and east. So the threat is going to be highest east of I-69. Coldwater again. So Coldwater, Hillsdale County, Branch County, St. Joseph County, for all the people listening from those counties, we're going to expect your storms between 2 and 4 o'clock. All hazards are possible, especially in Hillsdale, where that 2% tornado risk is currently set up by the SPC. Lansing area, Kelly, you're looking at right around the 3 to 4 o'clock time frame. All hazards are possible for Lansing. Livingston County, you're looking at the roughly 5 to 6 o'clock, and again, all hazards are possible. Hail and wind are going to be your main threats, but a chance of an isolated tornado is definitely possible with this setup. The wind shear, upper and mid-level wind shear, is supportive of tornadoes, especially east of I-69. But we do have a little bit lacking in the low-level wind shear. If the wind shear in the lowest level picks up into the morning hours, we're probably going to end up highlighting a little bit higher the tornado threat, but this overall setup is mainly going to be a hail and wind threat. Flint, you're going to be right around the 4 to 5 o'clock time frame for you. Quincy, you're going to be looking right around the 4 o'clock time frame, 3 to 4 o'clocks time frames. Sanilac County, right around the 5 o'clock time frame. Let's see here. DeWitt and Perry area. So DeWitt and Perry, you're looking right around the 4 to, well, say right around 4 o'clock for you guys. North Branch, you're looking right around the 4 to 5 o'clock time frame. Torrey, strong straight line winds are possible. We do think the wind threat is going to be mainly in the form of microbursts. So yes, straight line winds are possible with this storm. With this setup, should I say. Saginaw, looking more so around the 4 o'clock time frame. Cedar Springs, I got to refresh my memory where that's at. Give me a second here. Cedar Springs, you're looking probably going to escape the bulk of severe weather up there north of Grand Rapids. The highest threat on these models currently are south and east of the Grand Rapids area. So if you are anywhere, we'll say west of 131, your severe chances are still there, but these models are really picking up on this line forming to the east of you, so you should escape the bulk of it. But again, the environment, if a storm does happen to pop up behind that line, is still supportive of severe weather. Bob, we are probably going to go live once in the morning to kind of update you guys right around the 9:30 time frame. We do have 2 chasers who will be active, Chandler and Joel. I believe Joel will be streaming. I don't know if Chandler plans to stream or not. Unfortunately, the rest of us are busy with either family affairs or work. So unfortunately, you're just going to have Joel and Chandler for tomorrow. St. Clair counties, I'm seeing a lot of these places: Spring Arbor, Alpena, St. Clair, Newaygo. All right, so go ahead and knock these off one at a time. So Alpena, you have a threat in the earliest early morning hours, right around the 9 to 11, maybe as late as noon or 1 o'clock up there. It just kind of depends on how it evolves up in the northern part of Michigan. That's going to be your main focus for severe weather. It's just going to be a question of if instability can make it all the way up there. But for you guys up there, wind and hail are going to be your only threats. We don't expect there to be a tornado threat up there in Alpena. Let's see, Newaygo County. So Newaygo County, you're going to be a little bit further north than we would want for severe weather. But again, that first initial line in the morning may impact you. And then any pop-ups could be possible that could go severe, although the tornado threat is low up there. It's highest in the southeastern part of the state. But again, the main line for severe weather looks to extend from about Kalamazoo to Lansing up into the Saginaw and then points eastward. So again, west of 131, you're looking at a lower end severe threat. Brooklyn, Onstead. Let's see if I can compare this with anybody else here. Monroe. So yeah, Brooklyn, Monroe areas. We're looking Brooklyn right around the 4 to 5 o'clock time frame. And then for Monroe, a bit later, closer to 5 to 6. And again, all hazards are possible for you guys in Brooklyn and Monroe. Ionia County. So Ionia, you're going to be right around the earliest time where you expect the storms to really fire up right around your area. So it could be as early as 2 o'clock or so. Time frame for Bay City and threats. So Bay City right around the 4 o'clock time frame. And again, these are all kind of general times. Don't expect it to be exact. It could be 3:30. It could be 4:30 or 5. Just right around the centralized is what I'm trying to give you for the times. So right around the 4 o'clock time frame for Bay City. Mount Pleasant, same thing. You may be a little bit too far north for our liking for severe weather, but again, that first line could impact you. But if storms do impact you from this main squall line right around the 2 to 3 o'clock time frame. Constantine, Michigan, right around the 4 o'clock time frame, 3 to 4 o'clock, I'd say. Macomb area, right around the 5 to 6 time frame. And again, all hazards are possible in southeast Michigan, including tornadoes. Lowell, you're going to be right basically over where we expect the storms to develop. So you might be as early as 2 o'clock. Chloe, the time frame for Monroe will be right around the 5 to 6 o'clock time frame. Wayne County, Detroit Metro, exact same time frame, right around the 4 to 5. For Shiawassee County, you're looking more so around the 3 to, we'll say maybe 4 o'clock, I'd say, right around the 4 o'clock time frame. Although storms look to impact you. If you look at the radar on the screen here, you can kind of see the storms are kind of bowed through the thumb all the way back down to the Coldwater area. So different time frames for everybody here, but it's going to be kind of tricky to kind of pinpoint exact times just because of the way this line is oriented. If it was a true west to east moving storm, it'd be a lot easier, but this is not the case with this. So. See here, Detroit. What about Detroit? Is it going to get bad? So all hazards are possible. We do think Detroit is in a little bit higher of a tornado risk just because the wind shear is a little bit better from that area, from Detroit up to Flint, all the way down to the Battle Creek, Coldwater areas, and then points to the east. So yeah, you are in a little bit higher of a risk area. In our opinion, for tornadoes. But again, the main threats tomorrow will be hail, especially, and then wind. Holly, it should be cleared out from Lenawee around 9 o'clock, although there is a potential for more pop-up storms, although we don't expect the secondary storms to become severe. They'll just be probably lightning and heavy rain producers. But yeah, the main line will be cleared out of the state by 8 to 9 o'clock. Let's see here. Iosco County up there by the Alpena area. You're looking at the first line right around the noon time frame. Could be as early as 11 or as late as 1, but that's going to be your main severe threat. And the question for us is if there's going to be instability up there. So if there is instability, you're going to have a wind and hail threat. The risk for tornadoes should be pretty minimal up there. Grand Haven, Jenny, there is a threat for Grand Haven. It's a smaller threat than what we're kind of focused on the eastern part of Michigan. So any pop-up storms that do happen, or any storms tomorrow that do happen, do have potential for heavy wind, some large hail, and maybe some gusty winds. Adam says he's excited. He did Skywarn spotter classes last summer. Yeah, that's always a great place to start. For those of you who are looking into getting into weather and kind of spotting storms, Skywarn classes, especially in the spring and fall, we'll advertise them on our pages. That's a really good way to start getting into the weather scene. Southfield, Monroe time frame right around the 5 to 6 o'clock, I'd say, time frame for for you guys. Brighton for Kim, you're looking right around the 4 o'clock time frame for you, maybe a little bit sooner, depending on when storms fire up. We do expect them to fire up at right around 2 to 3 o'clock, although they could happen just because of the way the atmosphere is juiced. It could happen between 1 to 3. So right around, I'd say 2 to 4 for the Brighton area. You'll be one of the first ones to get that line. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button on the stream. We'd appreciate that. No, there is no possibility for a derecho, David. It's possible we could get a swath of damaging winds, but this is definitely not a derecho setup. For those of you who don't know what a derecho is basically a big squall line that has severe winds for the criteria for that. Let me look that up really quick. But it's basically a huge squall line that produces damaging winds for 240 miles and has wind gusts over 58 miles per hour or greater along most of the length of the storm's path. It's a very common summertime system. It happens a lot out in Iowa, Illinois, and even parts of Indiana. We occasionally get them here in Michigan, but this is definitely not a derecho setup. Bangor, Jessica, you're a little bit too far east. Storms may fire near or over you, but I do think it's going to be off to your east. But you do have potential for any pop-up storms to become severe. So pay attention early afternoon tomorrow for you guys over there in Bangor. Yeah, David said he's traveling tomorrow from the UP down to Charlotte. Yeah, you may escape. I mean, depends on when you get to Charlotte. I would say you probably be meeting the storms there in the Lansing Metro there by Charlotte. St. Joseph time frame, one of the first ones to get it, so anywhere between 2 and 4, I'd say, for you guys. Kim, the same thing for the Colon area. I know we got a lot of people here from the Colon area from our tornado coverage a few weeks, or last Wednesday, should I say. So yeah, Colon, St. Joseph and Branch County is that particular area, right around the 2 to 4 o'clock time frame. You do have a threat for mainly hail and wind, although an isolated tornado is possible. Monroe County for Chris, you're looking more so along the lines of 5 to 6 p.m. time frame, with all hazards being possible, mainly in the form of wind and hail. But an isolated tornado is possible. Checking into a campground near Port Sanilac at 3. So Port Sanilac up there, yeah, you guys would be you guys just had a tornado just to your south there in Lexington a few days ago, so it'll be interesting to see what happens up there. Although I think the storms, kind of hard to tell. They might be impacting you guys right around the 4 o'clock time frame, 3 to 4 o'clock time frame up there. So it'll be interesting to see if you can wait an hour or two, you'd be clear up there in Port Sanilac. The Flint area, right around the 4 to 5 o'clock time frames. Grand Rapids, you might look out. This squall line is forecasted to go to your south and east, although the potential for some isolated pop-up storms is possible in the Grand Rapids area all day. But the main squall line we're kind of focusing our attention to severe potential on is going to be off to your south and east. We appreciate you, Gary, following us. And we had a lot of new followers from the Branch in St. Joseph counties from our coverage a couple nights ago. So thank you to all you guys who tuned in and started following us. Rodney, the Flint area, what can you expect? So again, right around the 3 to 4 o'clock time frame, center around 4 o'clock would be your time. And for hazards, you're talking anywhere from hail up to 2 inches, all the way to winds to 60 miles per hour. A possibility of a spin-up tornado, although that threat is overall on the lower end of things, but we can't completely rule it out. Chris, Monroe County is pretty much all the same. So right around the 5 to 6 o'clock time frame. Tornadoes are possible tomorrow, but mainly the form for severe weather will be hail and wind for you guys in Monroe County. Same thing for Adrian, Kim, right around the 5 o'clock time frame. And then all hazards are possible. Macomb. Macomb County, Bree, you're looking more so around the 5 o'clock time frame. All hazards are possible up in the Macomb County area, but we do expect this tomorrow to be in the form of mainly hail and wind. Frankenmuth. So Frankenmuth will be right around the probably around the 4 to 5 o'clock time frame, and all hazards are possible. All right, looks like I'm caught up with questions. Oh, here we go. Nikki, for the Heartland area, I need to refresh my memory on that too. The Heartland area, I believe it's up near the. Okay. Oh, so Heartland is actually okay. I thought it was over in Grand Rapids. So Heartland, if you're just to the north of Brighton, there, you're looking more so around the 3 to 4 o'clock time frame. Should be pretty early on in the afternoon, and all hazards are possible in southeast Michigan. So hail, wind, and isolated tornado is possible. Let's see here. Temperance. So Temperance, Audra, about 5 to 6 o'clock in the evening. And we're looking at a potential for all hazards, including tornadoes, but mainly going to present itself in the form of hail and wind. Battle Creek area, so right around the 3 o'clock time frame would be a good guess for you guys. Sturgis as well. You could be a little bit too far to the west. We'll have to see where that line develops. But Sturgis, I'd say you're first to get it right around the 1 to 3 o'clock time frame. Ithaca, so right around the, again, probably one of the earliest ones to get it. Although you may be a little bit too far north. Again, we have to see where that line develops. But right around the 1 to 3 o'clock time frame for Ithaca area. Let's see, Lansing area for Dan. So Dan, you're looking right around the 3 to 4 o'clock time frame. And again, this is all going to be dependent on when storms fire. They could fire as early as 1 o'clock, or they could hold off until 2 or 3 o'clock. So if storms hold off an hour or two, that's going to adjust the time frames. But this is just a rough guess for you guys. Give it like an hour on each end. So when I say 4 o'clock for your location, it could be as early as 3, or it could be as late as 5. That's just going to be a standard time frame. We'll kind of have to see what storms are going to do tomorrow. Travis, power outages are possible tomorrow. Doesn't expect to be any, large scale power outages where the entire state could lose power, but isolated instances of power outages are possible just because of the wind threat tomorrow. Monroe County, again, so Monroe County, 5 to 6 o'clock in the evening, all hazards are possible. But again, the main threat for you guys is going to be hail and wind. Lapeer area, so Lapeer right around the 5 o'clock time frame, 4 to 5 o'clock time frame, I'd say. St. Clair Shores and Grosse Pointe, same thing. Right around the 5 o'clock time frame for Grosse Pointe, though, looking about, I'd say right around the 5, 6 o'clock time frame for St. Clair Shores as well. Hail and wind, again, are the main threats in southeastern Michigan. But I'll go ahead and switch back over really quick if you guys want to see to the tornado risk really quickly. So if I stop this screen really quickly and present the tornado threat. Nope, not that one. I don't want that one. I clicked the wrong button. Bear with me, guys. Share screen. SPC Outlook, share. So that should be on your screen here momentarily. So if you're looking at this, wait for it to load in here. Being slow. Can you guys see that? There, it just went up. So that is your tornado risk for the for tomorrow. So it extends all the way up into the thumb of Michigan. So areas like Bad Axe, Port Sanilac, if you're over in Sarnia, all the way down through Macomb Township, Warren, Livonia, Detroit, Monroe, Adrian, Ann Arbor, all the way up into the Flint, Saginaw areas, into the Lansing area. So anywhere east from Saginaw, Lansing down to Coldwater. So anywhere in that area in that green is your tornado threat from the SPC. And we are in agreement with the SPC on the placement of that risk. So Cass City Cass City, you're going to be right around the 4 o'clock time frame, I'd say. 4 to 5 o'clock time frame. Your threats are going to be mainly in the form of hail and wind. But again, you're included in that 2% tornado risk. So just pay attention. Don't let your guard down because the threat for tornadoes is not zero. There is a small threat there. Cold water area. So cold water right around the 3 o'clock time frame, included in that severe threat for tomorrow. Howell Brighton, right around the 4 o'clock time frame. And again, all hazards are possible. Hail, wind are your main threats. And then tornadoes are a 2 to 3 o'clock time frame, I'd say, for you guys there in Battle Creek. Mainly in the form of hail and wind. You guys are right on the edge there of that tornado risk. So I'd say it's highest off to your east, but don't rule it out completely for tornadoes. Right around the 2 to 3 o'clock time frame, Connie. Milan, so you're looking closer to the 5 o'clock time frame. And again, you're included in the tornado risk, but mainly going to be in the form of hail and wind for you guys. Hillsdale County, right around the 5 o'clock time frame, I'd say. 4 to 5 o'clock would be a good guess for you guys. All hazards are possible, but again, hail and wind are going to be your main threats. Macomb County, same thing for Betsy. You're looking more closer to 5 or 6 for you guys. And hail and wind are your main threats, and then isolated tornado possible. So just a few more minutes here for anybody else who has questions. Just going to recap really quickly here. So you have a severe threat tomorrow in all of the lower peninsula of Michigan. It's going to be highest in the eastern part of the state, and especially in the southeastern part of the state. We do have a squall line expected to kind of form from right around Saginaw down to Lansing into the Coldwater area. That should push eastward by early afternoon, reaching Metro Detroit by about 5 to 6. All hazards are possible in that squall line, especially if storms can stay isolated longer than instead of congealing into a line. So if you have isolated storms, kind of watch those closely for any tornadic threat, although the overall tornadic threat tomorrow is low. But again, all hazards are possible in that green area that you see on your screen. But the main threat tomorrow will be hail, potentially large hail. We wouldn't be surprised to see what we call a hatched area, which kind of signifies we're watching this area for a significant hail threat. So that's going to be the main concern for tomorrow. And then secondary threat would be wind. And then thirdly, tornadoes. Yeah, southeast portions of the state, Chris, are going to be the main focus, we think, for severe weather, although we're not going to say it's not going to happen elsewhere in the state. It's just kind of where the focus is right now. Pinconning, you're looking more so for, I'd say, the early morning round of storms. We do have that early morning threat up in the northern part of Michigan. We're just kind of up in the air if instability is going to be present for that to become severe. But I'd say right around the noon to 1 o'clock time frame for you guys. St. Joe and Branch County, right around the 3 to 4 o'clock time frame, Melissa. Sturgis, right around the 3 o'clock time frame. I doubt it goes enhanced, David. Although if we do have an up or an increase in low-level wind shear, it wouldn't surprise me. But as of right now, I'm going to say no. They're going to keep it at a slight risk. Depending on if that wind shear does increase in the lowest levels, you may see a small corridor of a 5% tornado risk issued, but I don't think it's going to be that widespread enough to warrant a 5% risk. To see how the SPC plays it, the next outlook comes out at 2 a.m. and it gets updated at 9 a.m. and as well as 12:30 p.m. So we'll have 3 more updates between now and tomorrow afternoon to kind of get it all sorted out. Yes, after this round, we do not expect any storms on Friday. Crystal, Monroe County, you're looking at 5 to 6. All hazards are possible, but it's going to be mainly in the form of hail and wind. Melissa, I would say probably likely tomorrow, unless something were to happen where it completely, like if something happens where we wake up and there's a huge unexpected line coming through the state. It's going to ruin instability or something like that. But yeah, barring nothing happens that will significantly impact this setup, I would say a watch is probably possible or probably likely. Kyle says he'll be waiting for the 2 a.m. update. Yeah, it's pretty late, Kyle. We'll have a few guys up here monitoring things. Yeah, Chris, we do have some chances of storms this weekend, but for the majority of us here in the state, we should stay clear. Let's just kind of focus in tomorrow, I say, for the weekend weekend storm threat. I don't think there'll be severe weather, although I'm not going to say that yet. I haven't really looked into the models for this weekend. So a severe thunderstorm watch is when conditions are favorable for severe storms. A severe thunderstorm warning is when the storm is actually occurring and producing severe weather. So a watch just means that the atmosphere conditions are favorable, which tomorrow they do look favorable. So that is where that watch comes in. So when storms start to fire off, that is when we start getting warnings issued. I see a meme being passed around, a taco watch and a taco warning. So the taco watch means you have the ingredients to make the taco, but the taco warning is when you actually have made the taco and is about to eat it. So think of it that way. What has this storm produced in other regions? That is a great question. So right now, the system is currently in Minnesota, sparking off some storms, but the overall severe threat out there doesn't look to be that significant compared to our tomorrow's threat. So it's sparking severe weather already. It's just going to be a kind of like a different ball game here over here in Michigan because the system kind of evolves further. So it's almost like a different system than what we're kind of looking at currently ongoing out west. Yeah, tacos. No, these storms are not going to be coming over the lake. They're going to fire on their own in the state tomorrow. So we're not going to be watching. If we're looking at the northern threat, we could have some storms try and cross the lake early in the morning. But for the majority of the severe threat, they're going to fire up over Michigan. So it's not going to be coming from anywhere. It's just going to have to watch. Yes, Chris, we could potentially get a severe warning tomorrow. That's definitely likely for Southeast Michigan. As long as you're cool with driving in rain and storms, Missy, I don't see a reason to cancel. The severe threat isn't, off the charts, but it's definitely there to get your attention and say, hey, just pay attention. But I wouldn't cancel your appointment. What's up, Chris? What's up, Crystal? Severe weather gives her anxiety. So, Crystal, yeah, we have a lot of followers who get anxiety from storms. We always tell people who have anxiety if they don't have a weather radio, get one for your location. It's $30 on Amazon. It'll save you a bunch of trouble. So if you have a severe storm coming through or tornado watch issued or whatever, it'll beep at you and get your attention. But otherwise, as long as it doesn't go off, you should be fine. So people with anxiety really kind of calm themselves down a little bit when they have something reliable to kind of go, okay, well, if I need to worry, this thing's going to tell me. So if you don't already have a weather radio, definitely get one. It's well worth $30. Joe, we recommend the Midland Weather Radio. That's the one I personally have, and that's when we actually give that one away in all of our photo contest giveaways. So what it's on Amazon. If you just type in Midland Weather Radio, it should be the first one to pop up. It's like 30 or $32 or something like that. Crystal, are you in Monroe County by chance? Because that happened in Monroe County when we had a storm crossing Lake Erie, and then for some reason the county sirens just went off for no reason outside that storm area. I'm not sure why Monroe County did that, but different locations sound their sirens differently. So it's going to depend on your location, but Monroe County did that. Yeah, Crystal, I figured you were just because we had that storm. It wasn't even tornado warned. It's just a funnel cloud spotted over the lake. And they sound on the entire sirens, even though there wasn't a storm in the county besides that one like mile radius, which was pretty stupid. Yeah, Chris, that was the one that they spotted the funnel cloud over Stony Point. Lynn, it did change to level 2 from level 1 for the eastern part of the state. Sturgis, you're looking more so around the 2 to 3 o'clock time frame, although you may be the threat and the storms are going to kind of fire over you or off to your east. It's going to depend on where storms fire up at. You're kind of right there on the border of where storms are going to fire. So Sturgis, you're kind of borderline, but I'd say as early as 2 o'clock for you. Yeah, at least we know the sirens worked. Yeah, I mean, that's a good test, but it freaks people out for no reason. All right, guys, I'm probably going to wrap it up here. So just recapping, a severe threat tomorrow. We're going to have Joel and Chandler in the field, either chasing or streaming here on Facebook. So if you guys do get impacted by severe weather, just kind of pay attention to our page. We'll have updates as we can get those out to us or out to you guys. We don't have a full staff tomorrow, so it might be a little bit harder, but we'll do our best for you guys. But again, if you guys haven't already, hit that like button on the stream. If you guys want early access to forecasts, we're releasing to subscribers first. We do it on Patreon and Facebook. It's like $1.99 a month on Patreon or $2.99 a month on Facebook. You get the forecast pushed out to you guys 2, 4, maybe closer to 6 hours in advance before release to the public. So that's a good way to get involved, support our cause here at NSC. But again, severe threat tomorrow. Again, we have 2 people out in the field. We'll be covering as best we possibly can. We're going to be down 4 people tomorrow. So other than that, look for questions one here. I don't see any popping in, so I'll go ahead and end the stream here. Again, thanks guys for tuning in and have a good night.